Odell Beckham, John. There was some discrepancy. There was like 10 really fun minutes on the internet. Schefter said he's going. Josina Kim Jones say, Packers in the mix. Schefter just tweets the depth chart for the Rams. And then Von Miller's FaceTime with OBJ becomes official, and he's on the Rams.
Didn't you say Jalen also tweeted out a no cap?
Jalen Ramsey tweeted a no cap. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Kids are still saying that.
Here's just one, and listen, we've been talking about this forever, the arms race of the NFC West. The Rams are operating, and listen, I don't love the Odell Beckham. Like, I'm not trying to – the last two moves they've made, Von Miller, they traded a second and a third for a guy that might be over the hill and shot. Odell Beckham Jr. is clearly much younger and still, in theory, should be much more productive, but we do have to question what we saw happen this year in Cleveland. So I'm not going to act like they just signed, Steph Curry and Giannis Antetokounmpo in their prime. But these names feel like NBA stars, right? If you just say Von Miller, Odell Beckham Jr., I would say universally sports fans, they're going to know who those two people are, right? So they're really, really famous NFL players, right? I mean, these are two non-quarterbacks. Is it fair to say that have like quarterback level juice? Especially Odell, probably even more than Von. And Von's pretty fucking famous. He was Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it feels probably to people like Odell is closer to his prime than Vaughn.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that? Or at least that Odell might still have it in him as a victim of circumstance, whereas Vaughn's just been in the same solid place, and it's just been a steady career for him. Right?
Both had major injuries last year, right? Vaughn missed the season. Odell missed a large portion with a torn ACL. So both this season is a year removed from major low. I think Vaughn was a foot injury at practice and Odell was an ACL. But one thing we can't dispute is the Niners, and ironically, they're playing this team on Monday night. Like, they're up with just a big game hunter. Like, these guys will do everything and anything to do. Like, you and I, before we jumped on, you were kind of pretending to be Sean McVay giving OBJ the pitch. Doesn't it feel a little bit like kind of maybe what Al Davis was like in the 70s or 80s? I know he's the coach and Al was the owner, but like that mindset of like any guy's available. And even when we were kids, like, the Raiders would be in the mix. Raiders would be in the mix. Like, that's Sean McVay, the way he thinks. Like, Get me that fucking guy.
Hey, Peter, man. Hey, Odell, man. This is where you want to be. We were talking about it in the context of if everyone's making if everyone is offering the same money to Odell, and when I say everyone, let's just say some of the teams that were rumored, right? Saints, Chiefs, Packers, Rams. There was somebody suggested that Odell, part of the holdup was Odell wanted some promise of targets. Maybe not a promise, but like some understanding that, yes, you'd be throwing me the ball because I'm going to be a free agent. I need to bolster my free agent resume. And so we were talking about it. And, they just replaced Deshaun. Deshaun Jackson just left because he wasn't getting the ball enough. Like, the Rams have plenty of people to throw the ball to. And you were like, well, maybe would Sean have just lied to him? Like, hey, Odell, man, we're going to throw to you a ton, man. And it made me think because I saw Schefter tweeted this when it was still up in the air. You said, look at Schefter's last tweet. Schefter tweeted Odell Beckham, then below that Cooper Kupp, then below that Robert Woods. And it made me wonder, is the lie, Odell, man, you're the most talented guy we're going to have. Between you and me, you're a number one. Now, the problem is that those other two guys produce. Odell has not produced. But you could easily say to Odell, I'm not going to promise you targets, but just know this. You're the number one guy on my play sheet, man. And maybe that gets him to L.A.
Guy, do you know who leads the league in catches and yards and touchdowns?
Cooper Kupp.
Cooper freaking Kupp. So, like, yeah, it's easy. Most people, obviously, people play fantasy now, so even if you're not locked into the Rams, you know who Cooper Kupp is because he's having it. I mean, they've played 9 games. He has 7 more. Guy, he has 74 catches, 1,000 yards, and 10 touchdowns. He's on pace for what, like 135, 18, and 19. Like, it would be like a historic NFL season. And they're like, oh, yeah, we just got this little white guy from Eastern Washington. You're good. No, it's like, Odell, you have never had a season as good as this guy's having with our new quarterback. But you're right. There is no doubt in my mind they lied to him. And at least in his mind, I bet, can you imagine what Vaughn, like, hey, bro, I've been here 6 days. Fuck, I didn't even play on Sunday, but you'll be the dude here. I've already scoped the landscape. You be the dude. Jalen's like, Jalen's probably like, you should see what I do to Cup in practice. You'll ball out, bro.
Yeah.
Stafford probably hasn't even talked to him. So it's just the Vaughn thing, he just might not be good enough, but he 100%, like, that guy's a winner, right? We saw him in good and bad environments. He just is a consistent human being. Every team in the league, maybe not for the same price, but if any team, like, he had a little something left, they would take the guy. I think, like, Justin Houston has played at multiple places now, and people feel very good about him. Dwight Freeney at the end. Like, those guys are just winning players. Is Odell Beckham a winning environment guy? I don't know. I would question it. Now, I don't know how big of his impact. Luckily, you don't pay him that much. You can always cut him in a couple weeks, but Von Miller is on the team. They gave a second and third. He is going to play the rest of the season. Do you feel 100% certain Odell makes it to the playoffs?
Is injury a factor? Could that be a
No,
part of
he's
it?
Healthy, but just it goes weird. Deshaun wanted out guy. He wasn't getting the targets, and they cut him.
But I mean, Odell's better than Deshaun Jackson, right? Would you agree with that, or is there some question?
I would imagine the gap's a little closer right now than it should be.
Yeah. No, I'm not 100% confident. And the other part of that question is just, are Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, everybody cool? Like, does Odell walk in going, "Hey guys, happy to be a part of this. How can I help?" Right? Because as you mentioned to me before, like, you had a theory about why he picked the Rams, which was just that he wants to be in LA.
I read some of Deshaun talk to Vic Tafur. And again, these are just quotes. You can say whatever you want in life. But his quotes were like, listen, if I got to be a decoy, I'll be a decoy. If they need me to catch a couple go routes, I'll catch a couple go routes. If they need me to stretch the field to get Darren Waller the ball, again, he can say whatever. We'll see how he acts. But he said the right things. Like, is Odell coming in tomorrow and talking to, I don't even know, Bill Plaschke, does he even still work at the LA Times? Whoever, and just saying all that stuff? It's easy getting on the FaceTime with Von Miller, who, again, has been there 6 days, and has yet to play a snap. And Jalen, who just one of the most outspoken players in the league, like, yeah, he's just talking, but he doesn't get. But Jalen wants to win. Things are going pretty well there. And the one thing you know about the offense is, like, that is Sean's baby. And now Matt is coming off one of his worst games probably in a couple years. I mean, he threw a pick six. He threw another pick. Did you see the highlight of the pick? We were live where he gets, like, spun in the end zone. And it was just like, Jesus, Matt, what are you doing?
It was Wentz-ish.
But as you said with Wentz, it would have been a safety. The game was over. With Matt, it was like in the first half. Like, what are we doing here?
I know.
It's a lot going on for Matt, who's just trying to, like, get his career back on a high trajectory with this new offense and this crazy coach. They do have a lot going on. I give McVay a lot of credit that he likes all this shit. Like, some young coaches, like, could Kyle handle all this? I don't know. Can Sean? We're going to find out.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. I mean, part of that is on, that's where the other guy they just added, Vaughn, is a leader. Aaron Donald is a leader, right? They do have high-level guys on their team.
Stafford's a high-level guy.
It's
Whitworth.
Yeah, do they have any issues ever? Really?
Well, that's why maybe they feel they can handle them.
And maybe they also feel like if it's not working, bye-bye. Because Odell needs them more than they need him. Right? That's another part of this dynamic. He needs them. He has every incentive to be on his best behavior. He's going to be a free agent. He's going to want them to pay him in all likelihood. Like, he's seen what happens there. They get guys, they love him.
Which would be bad if he's good. Right?
Yeah, I mean, could he turn into, like, it was easy to forget that Antonio Brown was still a really good player when it seemed like he was done, and then the Bucs signed him. It wasn't over the hill AB.
No,
right?
Well, I think he's had like 13 touchdowns for him since he's been there the last couple of years. Maybe it's not that many. Maybe it's 9. But
could the Rams have some, maybe even a little bit better version of that?
Well, they don't have
he's only 29, 30. Odell.
Yeah, live with LeBron.
Just turned 29. Live with LeBron.
I mean, let's face it. I don't know. We'll find out. Like, and I'm sure they'll just be like, "Hey, we don't know if he'll play this week or not." And clearly, they didn't rush Vaughn in. It was already going to be a very, very tough matchup for the Niners to cover. I don't know. The guy was 74 catches through 9 games. Who the hell is covering that guy on the 49ers? Then Robert Woods. They're tied. Like, this is not a great matchup. Where it used to be, you always said like the Niners had the market cornered on playing Jared Goff. It's kind of changed a little bit. They've become much more of a pass-heavy offense because they have a quarterback who's much more talented and a wide receiver who's become a superstar. That to me is the one thing, just like Cooper Kupp has become a star. Now he's a low maintenance. Hell, I never even hear him talk. I don't feel like he goes viral ever.
Well, he doesn't have Odell's moment, right? Josh Norman accused Odell of like, congrats on your one good play. Because Josh Norman and Odell have a history.
Well, that's a bad matchup for Josh because you can't run with him.
Josh Norman's still in the Niners?
He's still there, yeah. He's probably he might not start actually. He's an injured Niner. He's got some ribs. Do you see that? He's banged.
Do you think Odell's going to play on Monday?
The difference, like Vaughn had been hurt, Odell had been playing, so it's not like we just got this guy off the street. Like Odell's like, yeah, bro, I'm in football shape. I've been playing football. He played 2 weeks ago. He's healthy. Like it's not like he's injured. It's just going to be, can they teach him a couple plays? Yeah, I mean, don't you think he's going to play? Vaughn was injured.
Yeah, I think he's going to play, and I think he wants to play, and I think. Well, what's the history with him and Josh? They got in a fight. It was Washington. It was football team
15.
Giants.
No, it was even before that. It was football team. No, it was Giants Carolina.
Okay.
When they were both like Odell was a superstar and Norman was at the time one of the best corners in the league.
They've gone, and then for a few years after, they'd like tweeted each other and talk shit about each other.
Yeah, because then he went to the football team, and then they still, obviously Odell's still there.
Odell once said, "The only reason anyone talks about you is because you play me twice a year." And then Josh Norman was like, everyone knows who you are because of one catch.
I'm actually kind of glad they didn't cut him just for this potential. Yeah, that's the first time they played. We get a couple more matchups of this.
That's a good point. That's a good point. We advocated for them to cut Josh Norman, but Josh versus Odell could be fireworks.